So let me take you back in time. Do you remember how you felt the first time you started hearing those fancy business terms in a boardroom? ROI, KPI, churn, CLTV, and EBITDA? We've all been there, sitting in a meeting surrounded by bigger fish throwing around acronyms you couldn't even decode with a quick brainstorm. As a universal leader experience, I guarantee you soon realized you needed to quickly rush and learn those terms and most importantly, make them part of your day to day. At the end, those fancy words and mostly the knowledge behind them is what allowed you to merge and become part of a bigger system and eventually truly competitive in your field. Rules haven't changed so much. We're just on a bigger tank, and AI is now the new global boardroom where you need to learn some terms to stay competitive, make decisions, and most importantly, don't be fooled by others. That's why in this video, I will take you up to speed with those AI fancy terms and why are they crucial for your business and your path to becoming an AI native business leader. Welcome, I'm Juan Garzon, and this is AI Native Business Club. Okay, so let's hop straight to the first term, Agentic AI. Agentic AI is an autonomous artificial intelligence system capable of independent decision making, planning, and actions to achieve goals with minimal human oversight. This is mostly a system term for the use of agents and its methodologies. Don't mistake agents with chatbots. Agents can be fully autonomous and they are built on a sequence of tasks that allow them to analyze, reason, and act. Agents are the next big thing, and they are one of the biggest ways in which AI is changing traditional work. Why this matters? Agents convert a single productivity gain into whole new operating models. They're not just assistants, they can be digital workers that run repeatable processes. Agentic systems should become more common in business in the upcoming months. When you hear this term, you need to know that this type of AI basically focuses on repeatable processes, which can go all the way from an agent that qualifies inbound leads, drafts a personalized proposal, logs into interactions and CRM, and maybe books a demo autonomously. When speaking about agentic AI, ask your team for the workflows of every agent, and you will soon realize that how they operate is pretty much and similar as managing and creating frameworks for humans. Check these risks and mitigations when talking about agentic systems. Agents can take wrong actions. Always start in a sandbox, I will explain this later, and add actions of confirmation for high impact tasks, and keep human oversight for legal and financial actions. Number two, RAG. Retrieval Augmented Generation. It's basically a framework for real AI business leaders. This protocol connects your LLMs or large language models to your business documents. This guarantees better and more accurate responses for your business data. Rather than generating information from external sources or hallucinations, this system, the RAG, reduces hallucinations and has faster ways to cite contracts, manuals, and generate information related to your business. If I hear a client or a business owner speak about their RAG framework, I know they play in the big leagues. Why? Because using RAG framework is like a second level of complexity for business accuracy and stepping away from the basic AI towards more custom frameworks. This makes your AI models become experts in your business without inventing stuff or using generic information. On your next team meeting, address implementing a RAG framework to your business. This is what you should know. RAG works as a framework or architecture that helps restore your documents and information in vector databases for specific retrieval. That's why it requires a place where you feed and store the information. For this, you can pay a RAG cloud hosting service platform where the whole architecture is executed. You basically upload your documents and information and then connect it to your LLM through an API so that it can run through the architecture. Chatbase and Llama Index Cloud are decent and some good places to start building your RAG. I'm going to oversimplify this for the sake of time, but RAG has these stages. In the setting stage, you first upload your docs and they are converted to embeddings and stored in a vector database. I'll explain that later on the masterclass on our online community. Then, when you generate a query, it triggers the retrieval. And the retrieved information that's based on your docs is then fed to the LLM along with the original query in the augmentation phase. And then the LLM generates a sharper response. And that's why RAG makes AI trustworthy and defensible and more reliable and exact for your business. Number three, MCP. Think of model context protocols as a translator of multiple languages. Technology has multiple models, tools, agents, and systems that have different languages and ways to operate. With AI becoming this big brain where you can do everything, we face the need to connect these different languages so that they can all work together. This takes time and sometimes more technical knowledge, but MCP is a protocol which acts as a translator and mostly as a universal language for all the systems. It basically lets AI models connect with any external resources, whether it's your company's database, file system, web APIs, or specialized tools. It allows safely and efficiently to connect and scale without needing custom integrations or code for each connection, things that we needed to do or used to do before the MCP protocol. So why MCP matters? Remember, these are big fish terms. When you start building an AI native infrastructure for your business, you will soon learn that there are infinite possibilities and tools to complement and strengthen your model. MCP will basically be responsible for a cleaner and more organized system where you will struggle less to connect new tools. So the next time your developer says, hey, I'm having a little bit of trouble connecting the new AI tools to our system, you should address the need of implementing an MCP to make it easier. And please don't be fooled to pay for the MCP. It is an open standard free protocol developed by Anthropic. You just need to download it, and if you want the step by step, you can learn it in our community masterclass where you can learn how to build your AI native business infrastructure. Number 4, synthetic or natural data. Information is something you need to start thinking of as the new currency. Data is a resource that has these levels of purity and quality. It's infinite, but also very hard to mine. One of the biggest challenges for the AI era will be extracting this natural information. This covers every field of human society and natural understanding. So, to narrow things down, there is natural data, which is the information we gather from real sources, maybe client systems, banking statements, or internal documents. This content is highly sensitive and requires strict protocols to be used. If you train a model with these sources or maybe share it with your team, you may risk important leaks or breaches. In response, businesses have started to engineer synthetic data. It's artificially manufactured using algorithms to replicate the patterns and characteristics of real world information, just like how lab grown ingredients replicate the molecular structure of natural ones. Why data matters for your business? When you need to train AI models, but your real customer data is locked away due to privacy regulations like GDPR, too sensitive to share between teams, or simply doesn't exist in the qualities you need, synthetic data is your solution. It's privacy safe, engineered data that gives you models the nutrition they need without exposing actual customer information. Sometimes synthetic data is cheaper and easier to pay for and use than gathering new information. That's why if your business lacks data to learn or fit systems, you can always opt for synthetic data, which you can gather in two methods. First, you can hire a data scientist or use an open source tool to custom build it. Or second, you can pay to generate a full synthetic dataset to enterprise platforms which may have information from your sector already or will have no problem generating bigger batches of synthetic data with small real samples that you provide from your business. This is a topic that most business owners haven't explored yet, but it will be crucial for competitive advantage in the future. When you hire market research firms or commission studies, always and please always verify what type of data they're using in their analysis. And always remember, synthetic data doesn't reflect reality. Validate synthetics with domain experts and use hybrid models to train between real and synthetic when possible. Number 5, sandboxes. This is one of the topics I'm most interested in. AI innovation is growing at a faster pace that we can create protocols and governance for it. As a researcher of this topic, the only way to keep ourselves in control of AI rather than AI in control of us is by focusing in AI governance. Think of this like having a nuclear power plant without its safety protocols and testing reactor. When you're dealing with nuclear energy, you can't just flip a switch and hope everything works. The consequences of failure are just too big. You need multiple layers of safety systems, constant monitoring, and rigorous testing before everything goes live. AI governance is your nuclear safety protocol. It includes bias detection, ensuring the reactor doesn't have dangerous hotspots, explainable AI techniques, knowing exactly why every system decision was made, and ethical auditing frameworks. 80% of business leaders see AI explainability, ethics, bias, or trust as a major challenge for this era. Why? Because just like nuclear energy, AI can cause massive damage if it is malfunctioning or behaves unpredictably. And it has already happened. A hacker used Claude to automate hacking attacks. The AI created malicious software to steal sensitive information, then organize the hacked files and analyze them to determine what was sensitive for extortion purposes. Imagine having like an AI criminal mastermind planning every step of a heist. So, building AI governance frameworks requires experts, a tailor made study, and robust models protocols with a cultural shift that I believe should eliminate laziness and prioritize structure before deployment. If you want to build your first governance framework, be sure to take our masterclass, and here are some key insights you must take into account when you're understanding or developing this topic. When you're offered a new AI model for your business, you should always analyze its risks, ask for its governance and risk prevention management plan, and give it a deep analysis, even with more detail when those offers use sensitive data. You can start building a governance framework with our course. It's a simple and early version, and it's basically a moral code for AI use. But for the future, and if you're really wanting to build a real native business, you will need a more complex protocol, which we'll be happy to help you build with a one on one consulting process. As you develop newer AI systems and seek to implement them in your business, you will need a testing area where you can mitigate risks or problems. This is what you get to know in the AI Strange meetings as the sandbox. It is your testing reactor, a contained environment where you can run experiments, simulate failures, and stress test your AI systems without risking public safety. The AI sandbox is a magical place because it helps business innovate without premature penalties. You get to push boundaries and learn from the mistakes in a controlled space. Similar to natural or synthetic data, you can hire individual developers to build your sandboxes or purchase them as a service online. And I believe this is a very smart way to mitigate your AI risks. And when someone tells you they use a sandbox to test their AI protocols, it speaks to good governance practices and demonstrates they take AI safety seriously. Make it part of your leadership protocol and ask for sandboxes for every new model and project you plan to roll out. There's a last thing I want to share with you. You don't need to be an engineer, but you need to know the right questions to ask your engineer. AI literacy isn't about just coding, it's about leadership fluency. It's understanding when your CTO says we need more GPU compute, whether that's a real bottleneck or just expensive wishful thinking. While your competitors are still figuring it out, basic chatbots, you're already planning how AI will reshape your entire business model, supply chain, and customer experience in just 1 year. You need to improve your AI literacy. It's the only way you'll become a native AI business leader. And that's why we built this channel and our online community, where hundreds of business leaders just like you of this AI era are preparing themselves to conquer this transformational moment in history. So if you want to stay competitive and keep learning, please subscribe and join our community to learn more and take our master classes. See you on the next video.